Admit it. You feel your life is too ordinary for God to notice, so you keep it covered. You stay quiet. You blend in, because somewhere along the way, you decided your story has nothing in it worth seeing. But before you settle into that as truth, I want you to listen to something Jesus said, not to crowds of saints, not to the powerful, but to ordinary, frightened, unremarkable people like you and me. And as I read, do one thing. Don't listen for what Jesus tells them to become. Listen for what he says they already are. The whole secret is hidden in one tense of one verb. Reading of the Holy Gospel, Jesus said to his disciples, "You are the salt of the earth, but if salt loses its taste, with what can it be seasoned? It is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city set on a mountain cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and then put it under a bushel basket. It is set on a lampstand, where it gives light to all in the house. Just so, your light must shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father." Did you catch it? He didn't say try to become light. He didn't say earn your way into mattering. He said you are already, now, as you are. I know how hard that is to believe when you feel like the smallest, dimmest person in the room. So here is what I promise to show you before this video ends. Why the lie that you are too small to matter was never true, and what the bushel basket in this passage really is, because it is something you are holding right now and you don't even know it. Stay with me. Here is something that should stop you. Jesus said these words to people who had every reason to feel exactly the way you feel right now. Picture them. Not bishops, not scholars, not men of influence. Fishermen with cracked hands and salt in their clothes. A tax collector everyone despised. Ordinary villagers from a forgotten corner of an occupied land. People whose names history would have erased completely, if not for this moment. And to these people, Jesus does something almost reckless. He doesn't say, "One day, if you work hard enough, you might become useful." He looks at them, tired, doubting, unimportant by every standard of their world, and says, "You are the salt, you are the light. Hold on to that, because we'll return to why he chose those two images and not something grander." Now, the salt. We hear it and think of flavor, but in their world, salt meant something far heavier. Salt preserved meat when there was no other way to keep it from rotting. Salt was so valuable that soldiers were sometimes paid in it. Salt was rubbed into a newborn's skin. It was even poured over covenants, over sacred promises, as a sign that the bond would not decay. So when Jesus says you are the salt, he is not paying a compliment. He is saying, you are what keeps the world from rotting. You, the one who feels like nothing. And here's the quiet surprise. The people most certain that mattering required power and position were the religious experts, the Pharisees, the ones with the right words, the right rituals, the front row seats. They were sure the light belonged to people like them, and Jesus walks right past them. He doesn't hand the title to the qualified, he hands it to the nobodies in the back, the ones who assumed this whole thing was never meant for them. If you have ever felt like you don't belong in church, like faith is a room for people more polished than you, like everyone else got an invitation you somehow missed, he is looking straight at you when he says it. Then the lamp. We picture electric light, the flick of a switch. But a lamp in that house was a small clay dish, a wick floating in a little oil, fragile, easily snuffed, and costly. You didn't light it carelessly because oil was precious. When you lit a lamp, it mattered. You didn't waste it. So look closely at what Jesus actually says about that lamp. He never asks it to burn brighter. He never tells it to be a bigger flame. He only addresses one problem, the basket placed over it. A lamp under a basket isn't a weak lamp. It's a hidden one. And that distinction is going to change everything. Because if your problem were that your light is too small, the answer would be to become more. But if your problem is something covering it, then the answer is not to become. The answer is to uncover. Hold that thought. Because in the next part, I want to show you what that covering really is, and why it's the most natural thing in the world to reach for it. So what is the basket? Let me say it plainly, because this is the heart of everything. The basket is not your weakness. The basket is the thing you reach for to hide your weakness. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't look like fear at all. It looks like humility. Listen closely, because this is the lie that has kept more good people silent than any other. Who am I to shine? I'm not holy enough. I'm not sure enough. My faith is too small and too messy to show anyone. It sounds humble. It even sounds reverent. But look at what it's actually doing. It is taking the light God lit, on purpose, at cost, because it mattered, and quietly lowering a basket over it, and then calling that basket a virtue. Here is the reframe I promised you. You have spent your life believing you must first become something before your life could matter. More devout, more healed, more certain, more impressive. You've been waiting to feel like light before you would dare to live like light. But Jesus never asked the lamp to become brighter. Read it again. He lights the lamp. He does. The flame was never your achievement. It was his gift, placed in you the moment he claimed you as his own. The only thing left undone, the only thing he points at, is the basket, the covering, the hiding, which means your smallness was never the problem. Your hiding was. And I know why we hide. Hiding feels safe. A covered lamp can't be mocked. A quiet faith can't be tested. If you never let anyone see what you believe, no one can tell you it's not enough. The basket protects you, but it also slowly suffocates the very flame it was supposed to guard, because a lamp under a basket doesn't just stay hidden. Starved of air, it goes out. That's the part we miss. We think hiding our light keeps it safe. Jesus is telling us hiding our light kills it. The salt that is never used loses its taste. The lamp that is never uncovered dies in the dark. So sit with the honest question underneath all of this. Not, is my light big enough? That was never the question. The real one is quieter and harder. What basket am I holding right now? And what name have I given it so I don't have to take it off? Maybe you call it humility. Maybe you call it privacy. Maybe you call it not my place. Maybe you've called it that for so long you've forgotten it's a basket at all. Hold that question close, because it's about to get personal. In the next part, I want to show you exactly where that basket comes down in an ordinary life. In the kitchen, at the dinner table, in the messages you don't send and the words you swallow. Because this gospel was never meant to stay in a church. It was meant to walk home with you. Let me show you where the basket comes down. Not in theory, in the rooms where you actually live. It comes down at the dinner table. Someone you love says something cruel about faith, about God, about people who still believe, and you feel the warmth rise in your chest. The words form. And then you reach for the basket. You laugh it off. You change the subject. You tell yourself, this isn't the time. It's never the time. The light was right there, and you covered it to keep the peace. It comes down with your children. You want them to know the God who carried you. But you're afraid of getting it wrong, afraid they'll roll their eyes, afraid you're a hypocrite because your own faith feels so unfinished. So you stay quiet and hope they'll figure it out somehow. The lamp meant to light the whole house, lowered in the one house that needed it most. It comes down in your phone. A friend posts that they're falling apart, and you feel the nudge to write, I'm praying for you, to send the verse that held you together on your worst night. And you don't. You leave a heart instead. Safer. Smaller. The basket fits perfectly over a screen. It comes down at work, when everyone's complaining and despairing, and you carry a hope that could shift the whole room, and you swallow it because you don't want to be that person. Look at how ordinary each one is. None of these is a great moral failure. Nobody would even notice. That's exactly how the basket works. It doesn't announce itself. It feels like discretion. It feels like keeping the peace. It feels like humility. And one quiet choice at a time, the light God lit in you spends its whole life under cover. And here's what breaks my heart about it. The people around you, the cruel relative, the struggling friend, your own watching children, they are not waiting for a perfect saint. They're not waiting for someone with every answer. they are waiting for a lamp. Any lamp. One small, honest, flickering flame in a dark room is enough to change everything for someone who can't find the door. You've been that person in the dark. You know what it would have meant if just one person had let their light show, had said the honest word, sent the message, admitted they believed. You remember the ones who did. You may not remember a single sermon they preached. You remember that they didn't hide. That's the strange mercy of this gospel. You don't have to be the sun. You were never asked to light up the world. You were asked to stop covering the small, faithful flame already burning in you. Because for the person standing in your particular corner of the dark, your small light is the only one in the room. So the basket has a cost. Every time it comes down, someone stays in the dark a little longer. But that raises the hardest question of all, the one I've been circling this whole time. If hiding feels so safe and shining feels so exposed, how do you actually find the courage to lift the basket? What changes a frightened lamp into one willing to be seen? Stay with me, because that's where everything turns. Here's what changes everything. And it's so simple you might miss it. You find the courage to lift the basket the moment you stop believing the light is yours. Read that slowly. Every fear that keeps the basket down is rooted in the same quiet lie that the light is your performance, your reputation, your achievement to defend. If it's yours, then of course you hide it. Because if someone sees it and finds it small, finds it flickering, finds it imperfect, then you have failed. The basket isn't really protecting the light, it's protecting your pride. But go back to the lamp one more time. Who lit it? Not you. You never manufactured this flame. You didn't earn it by being holy enough or sure enough. He lit it. The light was his gift, placed in you on purpose, at cost, because you mattered to him. And here is the freedom hidden in that. If the light is his, then it was never your job to defend it. It was only your job to stop hiding it. This is the turn, the thing I promised at the very beginning. You thought you had to become light before you could shine. But you already are light, not because you're impressive, but because he said so, and he doesn't lie about who you are. The growing, the healing, the becoming. That's real, and it will come, but it happens out in the open, on the lampstand where the light can finally breathe, not under the basket, where you've been waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. The lamp doesn't wait to feel bright, it just stops hiding. And notice the last thing Jesus says, the part we rush past. The light shines, that they may glorify your heavenly Father, not you. The uncovered light never makes people admire the lamp. It makes them look up. That's why you can stop being afraid of being seen, because when you finally shine, the eyes don't land on you. They land on the one who lit you. If you are still here with me at this point in the video, I want to invite you to subscribe to Gospel of the Day and walk with us every day. And if this message made sense to your heart, share it with someone who may need to hear it today. Because sometimes, one word heard at the right moment can help someone breathe again. Maybe someone you know is sitting under a basket of their own right now, certain their small flame could never matter to anyone. So let me leave you standing at the edge of the only thing left to do. You know what the basket is now. You know who lit the flame. You know it was never too small. There is one more thing. The thing this whole passage has been quietly building toward from the very first word. Because Jesus didn't only say you are light. He said something about where a city sits and why it cannot be hidden. And when you understand that, you'll see that your shining was never something you have to force. It's something you were built for. A city set on a mountain cannot be hidden. We skipped past that line at the beginning. Now you're ready for it. Notice what Jesus does not say. He does not say the city must climb the mountain. He does not say it must work to be seen, or strain to be noticed, or become grand enough to be visible from far away. He says it cannot be hidden. It's already on the height. Being seen isn't its effort, it's its nature. That's you, not the city you're trying to become, the city you already are, because of where he has placed you. You have spent your whole life believing you had to climb high enough to matter. But the moment he lit the lamp, the moment he called you salt and light, he set you on the mountain. The visibility was never your burden to manufacture. It was already done. So go back to where we started. You sat down certain that your life was too ordinary for God to notice. Admit it. That's the basket you've been holding this entire time. Not your sin, not your weakness. The quiet, exhausting belief that you are too small to be seen, dressed up as humility. And here is what was never true. The lie that you are too small to matter. It was never true, not because you are secretly impressive, but because the light was never yours to measure. He lit it. He placed you on the height. He called you, with his own mouth, the thing that keeps the world from rotting and the thing that pushes back the dark. The basket was always your hand, not his will. So set it down. Let me pray with you. Father, you called us light when we felt like shadow. You called us salt when we felt like nothing. We have spent so long hiding the flame you lit, calling our fear by gentler names. Forgive us for the baskets we have held. Give us the courage to be seen, not so the world looks at us, but so the world looks up at you. Let our small, honest light reach the one person sitting in our corner of the dark, and when we are afraid, remind us, you lit this flame on purpose. You do not light what does not matter. Amen. Now I want to ask something of you before you go. Follow Gospel of the Day and walk with us tomorrow. Share this with 5 people, 5 lamps who may have forgotten they were ever lit. And leave a comment, honestly. What is the basket you have been holding? Name it. Sometimes naming it out loud is the first time the air gets back in. And tell me which gospel you want us to sit with next. You walked in believing you were too ordinary to matter. But the lamp was never asked to be the sun. It was only asked to stop hiding. So tonight, somewhere, one person is sitting in the dark, looking for a single light. Let it be yours.